Hey everyone, Nick here. We're going to do something a little different for today's behind the scenes of our last short, Mr. Sandman. I'm actually going to do an on-camera live director's commentary as we watch the film together, and I'll point out some behind the scenes things. Every once in a while the video will introduce some raw footage that we have from the day, and you'll see some of the tics and techniques. It's all going to be very brief. It's only going to be as long as the actual short itself, and I'll try to be as detailed and as concise as I can possibly be at the same time. All right, so let's take a look at Mr. Sandman together. One thing to note about this project is that they had to come together very, very quickly. We didn't have a lot of time at all. In fact, I wrote the script for this the Friday evening before we shot it. And while that was happening, I was also doing casting. I was working on arrangements to work in my apartment, and that is actually my home right there. The opening shot. That's Natalie. Natalie is actually a friend of my fiance's, and she came in at the 11th hour to do us a solid. She's never acted before, so she did a great job. I think she did a great job. One thing to note when we did this opening shot was I kind of wanted to establish the closet because it comes into play very importantly, obviously, at the end. If you've already seen the original short, we all know what happens. So we wanted to establish the closet. My fiance dressed the closet. We share that closet. That's our own bedroom closet, and she dressed it to make it look more like a single young woman lives there and not two people cohabitating or anything like that. And yeah, so and the way we lit that particular closet, it was just a single kind of little 60-watt bulb on a clamp lamp overhead. We used a lot of haze to kind of soften the image a little bit, so that's why everything has this kind of slightly diffused glow. The lightning effects that you see are actually on-camera lightning effects. I own a strobe that responds to sound, and so what I did was I took the strobe and I put it on a stand outside my bedroom window where I have a fire escape, and I strapped my little Bluetooth speaker to it and put on like 12 hours of rolling thunder. And whenever the thunder would crack, it would activate these strobes and it would react kind of like lightning. And so what we spent a better part of that project doing was trying to find the nice kind of sweet area of what looked good but what was able to read on camera. The strobe itself is actually not very bright at all, so I had to make sure that the levels inside the room, we had a secondary additional light, a nice little super light to kind of give the room a nice general fill. And so it had to be kind of dim enough so that the lightning flashes would come through because the strobe itself didn't have a really high output. And so that's why you kind of see we're kind of riding like the underexposure here. This is actually actual footage from when Bonnie, which was before Sandy, hit New York, and it was this big thing. Now this part right here, obviously we wanted to establish kind of two different styles and two types of energies. Obviously that video, the news clip represents kind of like a break in the story. And so before that, everything was kind of like on sticks, on fluid heads, very smooth. Here we're more handheld, a little bit more shaky. Again, Natalie, not an actress at all, doing a fantastic job. This was really insane sound design work because trying to find the right combination of sounds and such to make it work. Tell you a quick thing about the song coming through the speaker. I got the idea from a coworker. Where I work at, we use walkie-talkies, and we were having an emergency happening at the job, and he started playing a song through the walkie-talkies, and the way it came through was really kind of creepy, and so that kind of inspired this bit. The face of Mr. Sandman is actually, there's no one in that closet. That's actually all After Effects. That's a picture I found. With Natalie getting pulled into the closet, you can't see it in the original short, but in the raw footage, which you'll see side by side, I have my friend Monty inside the closet. He's in the shot, he's pulling on her and dragging her into the closet, and then once I brought my footage into Premiere and then sent it over the After Effects, I spent a good part of time just masking him out and then painting him out and then painting her back over that so that we get the idea that like she's being pulled into a void. And that was the entire short. Like it went by really briefly. Just a couple of things you should note. All the sound, like the sound design, was all like stuff that I found on YouTube. 12 hours of rolling thunder. I downloaded a clip. The news clip we found was actual news footage from like I think the Weather Channel, and it was great because a lot of the dialogue that was coming through from the meteorologist was all like very like hyped up. They were so excited about this storm that was coming to New York and such like that. So it kind of worked for the piece. The voices that you heard at the beginning of the mom character, which happened towards the beginning, is actually my fiance's voice. I have recorded her the next day, and the giggling of Mr. Sandman is me, just kind of in my closet with the microphone going. That's all I'm doing. Yeah, so there you go. That's a 48-hour made short film. I want to thank you for joining me on this. If you have any further questions or want to know some other additional tidbits, feel free to message us. Follow us on Patreon. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. We're going to do some more shorts right here. In fact, we're prepping our next short, which I'm going to announce probably in the middle of this week. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day. I hope that didn't suck.